Guests don't remember everything they see. They remember how you made them feel. The last time we discovered that memorable guest experiences don't come from expensive furniture, luxury toiletries, or trying to compete with five-star hotels. They come from thoughtful moments, small moments, human moments. Once you understand why the guest experience matters, the next question is simple. How do you create those experiences consistently, not occasionally? Not when you happen to have a quiet weekend, but every time a guest walks through your door. And by the end of today's episode, you'll have a practical way to look at the entire guest journey from the first online search to the final goodbye. And you'll see why every stage influences reviews, repeat bookings, and word-of-mouth recommendations. Welcome back to Beds, Breakfast, and Business, where current and aspiring B&B owners stop feeling overwhelmed and start building calmer, smarter, guest-loved businesses. Hi, I'm Gerry MacPherson, and I've spent more than 30 years in hospitality, worked with B&B owners around the world, and each week we talk about the real side of running a bed and breakfast. We don't teach people to run accommodation. We teach them how to build a hospitality business that supports the life they want to live. If you haven't done so yet, sign up, and if it is applicable, ring that bell so you don't miss any future episodes. When people think about the guest experience, they usually picture the obvious things. Comfortable beds, spotless bathrooms, delicious breakfasts, and those things matter because guests expect them. But memorable hospitality often happens somewhere else. It happens in the moments between them. The welcome at the front door, the recommendation for a local walk, remembering a guest's name the next morning, friendly chat before they head out for the day. These moments don't take long. They usually don't cost anything, yet they're often the things guests remember most. Hospitality isn't measured by facilities, it's measured by connection. So the guest experience starts earlier than you think. Let me ask you a question. Where do you think the guest experience actually begins? Most people would say it starts when the guests arrive, and I used to think that too. Now I believe it starts much earlier. It begins the moment someone finds your website. It grows as they browse your photographs. It develops while they read your reviews. It continues when they receive your booking confirmation. Long before the guests arrive, they've already started forming expectations. If the booking was easy and your communication felt warm, they'll arrive feeling relaxed. If they struggle to find information or feel uncertain about what happens next, they'll arrive carrying that uncertainty with them. And that's why every interaction is different. Hospitality begins long before the handshake. And here's one simple idea I'd like you to keep in mind throughout today's episode. Stop thinking about the guest experience as one event. Think of it as a journey, and every journey has stages. Discovery, booking, arrival, the stay, the departure. Each stage is another opportunity to reassure your guests and strengthen their experience. The holiday begins at the front door. Now, I want you to picture this. A couple has been driving for several hours. They sat in traffic. They missed a turn. They stopped for coffee. And by the time they arrive, they're ready to switch off and begin their holiday. Now imagine opening the door with a smile. Welcome, you must be David and Sarah. I'm so pleased that you made it safely. Now that greeting only took a few seconds. Yet it changes everything. The journey ends, the holiday begins. Guests immediately feel expected rather than processed. Compare that with an arrival where nobody answers the bell or someone appears looking rushed and distracted. The room might be identical, the breakfast may be identical, but emotionally the stay has started in completely different ways. First impressions aren't just about appearances, they're about reassurance. You need to see the person, not the reservation. One advantage independent bed and breakfast owners have is the ability to notice people. Not just bookings, people. Imagine welcoming two guests. One steps out of the car wearing walking boots covered in mud. The other arrives in business clothes while finishing a phone call. They probably need very different things. One might appreciate your favorite walking trail. The other may simply want the quickest route to dinner and reliable Wi-Fi. A simple question like, "Is this your first visit to the area?" or "What brings you here this week?" can completely change the conversation. You're no longer following a script. You're discovering how to make their stay better. Those little conversations help guests feel recognized rather than treated like another booking reference. Now here's an idea that helped many accommodation owners improve their guest experience. Instead of asking, "How can I impress my guests?" try asking, "How can I make things easier?" Sometimes the biggest improvements aren't glamorous. They're practical. Clear directions before arrival, easy to find parking, simple instructions for the television, enough power sockets beside the bed, and that is really important. Good lighting for reading, a luggage stand. These aren't exciting investments, but they are quietly removing frustration. Great hospitality often feels effortless because guests aren't constantly solving small problems. The easier the stay feels, the more relaxed your guests become. One of the biggest mistakes I see isn't a lack of effort, it's trying to improve everything at once. A new website, a renovated room, a different breakfast menu, updated signage, new furniture. Individually, they're all worthwhile. Together, they can become overwhelming. Instead, I'd like to share a simple approach that helps you improve your guest experience one step at a time. And that's the guest journey map. And we've talked about this in the last episode. But it is so important that I'd like to go over it again just in case you missed it. Walk your guest journey yourself. And this is something I've encouraged every B&B owner to do at least once a year. Do become your own guest. Do drive away from your own property and then come back with fresh eyes. Park where your guests park. Carry your suitcase. Walk to the front door. Read every sign. Open every gate. Follow every instruction exactly as a guest would. Notice what feels easy. Notice what feels confusing. It's amazing how many small things you've stopped seeing simply because they're familiar. Maybe the welcome sign has faded. Perhaps the entrance isn't as obvious as you thought. Maybe the confirmation email doesn't answer the questions guests usually ask. These aren't expensive problems. They're your opportunities. Next, I want you to break the journey into stages. Divide the guest experience into simple chapters. The discovery, the booking, before arrival, the stay, departure, the follow-up. Looking at each stage individually makes improvement far less overwhelming. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I could improve here? Perhaps your booking confirmation should sound warmer. Maybe your arrival instructions need simplifying. Perhaps your breakfast could include one extra local touch. Small improvements made consistently are far more powerful than trying to transform everything at once. Once you've removed all unnecessary friction, think about one thing guests will always remember. Not something expensive, something personal. It might be the homemade biscuits waiting in the room. It might be your favorite local walking guide you've written yourself. Fresh flowers from the garden. The handwritten welcome note. Or simply greeting returning guests by name. The best signature moments reflect your personality and aren't copied from another property. They're authentically yours. And those are the experiences guests tell their friends about. One lesson I've learned over the years is that hospitality is never finished. The best owners stay curious. They keep asking the questions. Could arrival feel easier? Could breakfast flow more smoothly? What questions do guests keep asking? What's one thing I could improve on this month? Notice the focus? One thing, not 20. Remarkable bed and breakfasts aren't created through one major renovation. They're built over hundreds of small improvements made over time. Now, if you haven't done so yet, last week I had mentioned the guest experience audit checklist. I want you to download it. You can find the link in the show notes and walk through your property as though you'd never seen it before. Take notes. Don't criticize yourself. Simply observe. Choose one improvement, complete it this week. Then next week, choose another. That's how memorable guest experiences are built. Not through perfection, through steady, thoughtful process. And here's some encouraging news. No bed and breakfast is ever finished. There are always other opportunities to improve. And that's true whether you have 3 rooms or 30. Most successful owners stay curious. They don't chase perfection, they simply keep asking. What's the one little thing I can do better? Here are your key takeaways from this week's episode. Guest experience begins before arrival. Small moments create lasting memories. Remove friction before adding luxury. Consistency builds trust. Improve one stage at a time. Today's episode is really about one simple idea. Guests don't judge their stay on one moment. They remember the journey as a whole, from the first visit to your website to the final goodbye, and every interaction shapes how they feel about your bed and breakfast. The wonderful thing is that creating memorable experiences doesn't require unlimited budgets or luxury facilities. It requires thoughtfulness, warm communication, attention to detail, and a genuine desire to help people enjoy their time with you. If you would like a practical way to put today's ideas into action and you haven't done so yet, make sure you download the Guest Experience Audit Checklist and your free B&B Starter Blueprint. You can find both links in the show notes. Both resources are designed to help you strengthen your foundations one step at a time. If this episode gave you one good idea, one useful shortcut, one less thing to worry about, hit like and subscribe, and share it with another B&B owner. And if you'd like to help fuel future episodes, feel free to buy us a coffee. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need the right next step. Thanks for listening, and I will see you next time on Beds, Breakfast, and Business.